Alright, if you couldn't tell, this video, 6 teams, 3 winners, 3 losers. It's going to be based on off-season moves and how excited I am for that team. If you want part 2s, 3s, 4, and 5, I think there's 30 teams, and 30 divided by 6 is 5. If you want 5 parts, because I probably could make 15 winners and 15 losers, let me know. But I want to get this video out because I have very strong opinions on these 6 teams. So let's get into it. Also, don't forget to like the video if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It'd go a long way. If you have watched all my videos, you know that I'm not a big fan of the Dillon Brooks signing at all for Houston, but I am a huge fan of what they've been doing besides that. Houston struggled a lot defensively last year and had no real connection offensively, but with new head coach Ime Udoka, both of those problems are probably going to be solved in the future. But that's not even the biggest reason for why I'm excited about them. We saw Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason go ballistic in Summer League in their first 2 games this year, and I think those 2 players are going to take a huge leap because of Ime Udoka. Now, think about it not from a perspective of Ime Udoka just as a coach, but think of what he did in Boston. In Boston, Udoka dramatically increased the two-way play of Tatum and Brown, took them from a playing team that needed a lot of help on defense and struggled to maintain a scoring balance to a team that went to the NBA Finals. Jabari Smith Jr. almost went number 1 last year, and now people have him going outside the top 8 in redrafts because of last year's performance. But we all know that Houston was probably the worst situation to play in last year, so why are we counting out Jabari Smith Jr. and the Rockets right now? Don't be surprised when Jabari Smith Jr. is taking a strive to become Houston's best player next year and solidify himself as the number 2 option. It shows us that he can be the number 1 eventually. Yes, there's still a lot of work for Houston, but this offseason has really shown me and given me hope that they can eventually be a top 6 seed in the West next year. Now, would I bet they're a top 6 seed next year? No. But I do see a likelihood of it happening, because would you have bet the Mavericks missing the playoffs last year or the Kings being the 3 seed last year? No, nothing is ever truly predictable in the NBA, and that's why I expect the Houston Rockets to have a great season next year. So they are winners in this video. I absolutely hate the Magic for what they did this offseason. They drafted 2 of the most overrated prospects in the NBA draft, and neither of them solved any problems that their team had. I know y'all are probably typing away in the comments saying, Jet Howard is a shooter. He is trash. Don't start with me right now. Please don't start. He'd be lucky to play 15 minutes a game next season. Y'all said the same thing about Caleb Houston last year, and what has he done? But before the draft, I was expecting them to take a huge leap forward and be a play-in team at the very least. Now, because they drafted 2 project players, their progression as a team is going to be stalled, which makes me believe that no matter how good Paolo and their young core is, they will not take a step forward next season. Oh, Joe Ingles does not solve your 3-point shooting issue either, so don't even go there either. Please prove me wrong, Orlando, but you're a big-time loser in my book. Remember this video and this clip. Please screenshot it, screen record it, do whatever you need to. Keep sending it to me, but I will be proven right when the Indiana Pacers finish as a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference next year. If all things health-wise go according to plan, I'm going to be right. Let's just say Tyrese Halliburton is that guy, and now you have a lineup of him at the 1, I'm guessing Benedict Mathurin at the 2. I don't know who's going to play the 3, whether it be Bruce Brown or Buddy Hield. Either way, you got a great fit next to Halliburton. Bruce Brown moves very well without the basketball, and Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best passers in the league, so lots of easy buckets from that combination. You also have got to realize that Buddy Hield is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, so floor spacing around Halliburton is going to be elite, so you can't go wrong there either. So those players at the 3, either one, doesn't matter. Both great players. Obi Toppin and Tyrese Halliburton lobs will be better than Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball lobs. I'll tell you that right now. Don't forget about Jarris Walker as well, who is going to be an elite defender from day 1. And of course, Miles Turner as the 5. This team is going to be deadly and a top 4 team in the East. Big time winners this offseason. Great job, Indiana. You finally have some type of hope for basketball. Y'all smell that? Smells like trash. Or it just smells like the New York Knicks, because what they've done in this offseason has been terrible. The Knicks are waiting on Embiid. At least I'm assuming that they are. Either way, if you were to get Embiid, you would drive him out of town because he won't be healthy for you in the playoffs. Anyways, I've said this before, but your only signing was DiVincenzo, and he is your 8th guard on the roster. You lost Obi Toppin for nothing, and your big 3 is really a big 2, and then just Jalen Brunson in the playoffs. You got lucky that the lights were too bright for the Cavs and they folded in the playoffs, but hey, you said you were going to beat the Heat, and you got sauced and tossed by an injured Jimmy Butler. So you really think you're going to run it back and be in the playoffs next year and win another series? Maybe if you play the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. But Knicks fans, get ready for another depressing year. Knicks are terrible and big-time losers. I might cry saying the last winner because I absolutely despise the best player on the team. So bear with me, but the last winner is the Dallas Mavericks. Ugh. I don't even know if they're done making moves yet, but I really like the team aside from Luka, and I despise him. Even though he is a great offensive player, I will give him credit. He is a great offensive player. They added Grant Williams, Richaun Holmes, Prosper, and Lively. All 4 of those players have one thing in common, and that is defense, which was the biggest problem for Dallas after the Kyrie trade. I'm expecting them to be a top 3 team in the West next year and probably in the conference finals. But who knows? Anything could happen, but it's very painful for me to admit that. But so unfortunate, but I am an honest soul. So there you go. The last loser I have for you is the Boston Celtics. Let me just ask this question. Why was Kristaps Porzingis on the Wizards to begin with? It was because every season he played for the Mavericks, he was hurt and didn't perform in the playoffs. So you thought it was smart, no pun intended, to trade a guy who fights through injuries and brings a whole new level of toughness to your team for a guy who is going to play 34 games and flop in the playoffs. Really, Boston? Really? Not to mention you also lost Grant Williams for nothing, so good job there as well. You lost this offseason, Boston. Go cry about it. This was terrible. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you want me to make a part 2 with 3 more winners and 3 more losers, let me know. That's up to y'all because I don't want to overdo it for y'all. But I do got some more opinions on some of these teams. So let me know. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.